What a day here in the 143.
That's right. We are back at it. Another episode after week 11.
Episode 45.
Football.
And we are happy this week because not only did the Cowboys win, but they demolished.
They absolutely manhandled the Vikings. Proved them to be frauds.
The 8-1 Minnesota Vikings are now 8-2. That is 2.
Thanks to your Dallas Cowboys.
Beat them 42-3. Not 43, 42-3.
40-3.
40
right.
points for the Cowboys.
It was 37-3 by the third quarter. By the third quarter being over. And at that point, we just had our backups in, so...
So did they, because there was no hope.
Yeah.
Let's jump into football this week. Nothing new. Talking football. Let's go into the stat brought to you by Andrews Logistics, our sponsor. The stat this week is actually pretty cool. Cordell Patterson records his 9th touchdown, kickoff return touchdown. That is the most in NFL history. He took it back against the Bears, which that in and of itself isn't an accomplishment, but the fact that he's done it 9 times in his career is, and that's our stat of the week. He has made history. Congratulations, Cordell Patterson, with
Good
your
for
9
him.
touchdown runs for kickoff returns.
Your player of the week is Mr. Big Trav, Travis Kelce. That's right. 6 receptions for 115 yards and 3 touchdowns.
He came alive in the second half against the Chargers when they needed him most.
Absolutely, yes.
I think it just goes to show that the Chiefs are real contenders this year. Mm-hmm. When you need, there's a minute 46 seconds left in the Sunday Night Football game, Chiefs-Chargers. The Chiefs were down by 4, needed a touchdown, and they got it done. Mahomes and Travis Kelce went down and scored.
Travis Kelce hit the Dion into the end zone as they got that go-ahead touchdown, so that was pretty nice.
It was impressive, and it's just what he does. And I think that's my favorite right now coming out of the AFC. I think it's a lot of people's favorite as well. But let's jump into it. Let's jump into some football talk. Notable games this week. Obviously, let's jump into the Cowboys game.
Talk about the Cowboys.
Prime time game of the week.
Absolutely.
Cowboys Vikings.
Everyone was picking the Vikings to be the underdogs, but
rightly so, I guess.
Not losing nearly as much as
I think
they
were.
did.
I think they were either 3 or 4 point underdogs.
It was like 3. I'm pretty sure it was 3.
And honestly, I fully expected the Cowboys to lose this game.
It was. I knew it was winnable, but it was just a question of which Cowboys team are we going to get.
I think our
for this particular
defense,
game.
and specifically Micah, came out. And they were hungry to redeem themselves because
absolutely
they are our best unit, and we all know we can't rely on our offense to get anything done. And our defense failed against Green Bay, and they were going to come back and show the world.
And the Vikings' all-star receiver Justin Jefferson was not apparent.
3 catches for 33 yards for Justin Jefferson.
Trayvon Diggs had him absolutely clamped up, and a lot of people are coming out and saying that, oh, well, Kirk didn't have time to throw. Well, you can easily flip that argument and say Kirk wasn't throwing the ball because he had no one to throw to. So it was the defense working together as a unit. Our secondary did a good job covering Thielen, Hawkinson, and Justin Jefferson, as well as our pass rushers were getting to Kirk Cousins, getting sacks.
Wait, did you call him Thielen Hawkinson? Is that his name?
What? I said...
Oh, TJ.
Yes, I was saying
Thielen and
Hawkinson,
Oh, okay.
and Jefferson.
Okay, my bad.
Good
Miscommunication,
grief.
guys.
I'm talking about their stars
I didn't know
on
what TJ
offense.
Hawkinson stood for. I thought maybe
It's
Thielen
like
was
Thomas Jefferson or something. I don't know.
Thomas Jefferson. All right. But yeah, no, we absolutely clamped up on defense. Our defense showed out. Our offense did really well, but they should be when your defense is playing
Absolutely.
that well. The Vikings offense has been one of the best in the NFL this year. Dalvin Cook was completely shut down. All year we've been hearing about our terrible run defense, ranked 29th in the league.
They had been talking about the Vikings O-line and how good they have been at protecting Kirk and setting up running lanes for Dalvin Cook, both of which did not happen.
You know who took care of that first, 3 plays of the first quarter?
Micah.
He had a strip sack where we recovered it. Now, we only got 3 points off of that. That's a problem.
But that was just a glimpse of things that were to come that game.
This game shows you how the Cowboys. This is how the Cowboys can win. Okay, it cannot be offense, defense, special teams. It has to be defense, special teams, then offense, because everything was clicking, and because of that, the offense was able to function. Dak cannot be the center point of our game planning.
Absolutely.
It has to be the defense, and that's okay. It's just going to be a little bit tougher. It does stink that we can't rely on our quarterback like other teams can, but the Cowboys, the strength of the Dallas Cowboys is in our defense.
I think it's kind of been that way for a while. That was what it was last year. And while we're ripping Dak, I would like to say, though, he completed all but 3 of his passes. So
I think
was
Dak did
able
great. I
to
think
get
Dak
the
did
job
great.
done. And I liked the dynamic we had going in the backfield. I liked how we were rotating out Pollard and Zeke. Pollard got to see a significant amount of snaps. As he should, yes. He's proven himself to be the better pass-catching back, and he's more explosive, but Zeke is just always going to be our power back. Like
Zeke's the power back.
He's able to punch it in when we need it, right? When it's 3rd and short, we can give it to Zeke, and he's going to plow through. But I liked how we were trading off reps between those two.
I think that Pollard has shown he deserves to have the majority of the snaps. I don't really care who starts. I know that's a big debate. Who should start, Zeke or Pollard?
It's all about who gets
really
more
just
reps.
who gets more snaps.
It doesn't really matter who starts out the game.
Yeah, it should be Pollard. Zeke, obviously, keep doing what he's doing, but he is not the main back that
He's
can get
just
you
lost
yards.
a step.
He can get you the 1 or 2 yards you need for a 3rd and 1 or a goal line stand or something like that. But also, Dak, I was saying Dak does well when the defense is kind of carrying the team.
Mm-hmm.
So Dak can't carry the team like a Patrick Mahomes can, but he can deliver when the defense is playing.
He
well
feeds
behind him.
off of the defense well.
Yes.
And then another unsung hero was Brett Maher.
Brett Maher came alive.
I mean, we
Two
had a
60
lot
yarders.
Yeah, back to back. We had quite a few field goals, which, that just
We had
chips away
6, I think.
chips away at I guess the Vikings' ego, right? Because we're continuing to put points on the board, and then Brett Maher's
To put it
kicking them
in perspective,
like nobody's business.
Brett Maher had 29 fantasy points.
I think so. I think that's right.
Normally for a kicker, you get about
That's
8
kind
to
of
10,
ridiculous because that's what you get from a quarterback,
if that.
if that. Exactly.
I don't think Dak had that many fantasy.
I don't think
points.
so either. No.
So Brett Maher came alive. Just a great game all around. A lot of people are saying this is one of the most complete games by a team they've seen this season. And the good thing is, we're good at whooping up on bad teams, but we did it against a good team this time.
I think what Dallas proved is
demolished
that
them.
they can compete and take it to anybody because
The Vikings were the best team in the NFC.
and they
Other
were
than the
coming
Eagles.
off a huge win against the Bills that came down to the wire in Buffalo, and Buffalo is a really good team.
They are.
And the Vikings managed to win that, so that kind of validated their season. And then the Cowboys just absolutely demolished them in Minneapolis.
I think it was just a super complete game. Super happy with everything I saw, and I think we should keep playing like that all
Absolutely.
season.
The Cowboys at their best, no one can compete with them.
Will we see another game like this season? I hope so, but I don't know. We shall see. There are 7 games left.
I'm excited for the December 24th game. That is our
Give
rematch
us the Eagles. We
against
want
the
Philly.
Eagles in Dallas.
We want Philly. We need to win out. We need Philly to lose 2 more games this season. That's what needs to happen.
Speaking of Philly, I think it should be brought up that they nearly lost to the Colts.
And
Yes,
should have lost to the Colts.
I understand they won, and a win is a win. But a 17-16 win over the Colts?
Barely in like
that
the last
came
2
down
minutes
to
of
the
the
last
game.
minute and a half.
I really wish Matt Ryan was that guy. I really wish Matt Ryan in that
I
minute
was
30 had
hoping
left.
so
but
bad that the Colts defense would clutch up.
I think the Falcons have shown that they won the trade
Yeah.
in letting him go.
Matt
But
Ryan's a little washed.
he definitely is. I mean, that's no slight on him. He's just older.
He's just old.
And, he had a chance to get the job done against the Eagles in the last minute and 30 seconds of the game, but couldn't get it done. And the Eagles got a nice little slight win over the Colts. And it was tough to see. I mean, wasn't expecting the Colts to win, but they did have the lead the entire time.
But I mean, I was a little surprised. I mean, the Colts obviously could
They gave us hope.
pulled it out,
They gave us hope.
but unfortunately, they did not. Because I mean, that's a winnable game for the Eagles. The Eagles should have won that game. But
Actually, every NFC East team won this week except for the Giants, who played the Lions and got destroyed in New York. It was a home game.
I think the Giants are showing their true colors. I believe we alluded to it at the beginning of the season that the Giants are kind of frauds. They are. They came on the season starting really, really strong, really, really hot, but we kind of predicted this drop off, and I think now we're seeing it because Saquon Barkley was absolutely shut down
By the Lions.
by the Lions, who were supposed to have the worst run defense in the league,
and
one of the worst, and they came out, shut down Saquon,
and
so
one of the worst pass
the
defenses.
Giants had no answer because they couldn't get Saquon started. So, and ultimately they lost.
And we get to play them on Thanksgiving, which is this week. Oh, by the way, happy Thanksgiving to all our listeners.
Absolutely, yes.
But this Thanksgiving Day game will decide who is second. Well, I guess we're second right now. If we beat them,
If
again,
we
we'll
win,
have
that
swept them.
solidifies
Yeah,
our
that
second.
solidifies that second place spot.
That's a very winnable game.
We don't want the second place spot. We want first place, but we didn't beat the Eagles when we should have. But yeah, I think
We'll
the
take it
Giants
to
are
'em
just
again.
showing they're not really worth the hype that everybody's giving them. Daniel Jones is clearly not that guy. He is not him.
He can win you a couple games. He's a decent thrower, a decent runner, but overall as a QB, he's just not the best.
He's not.
The Commanders got a win over the Texans.
That was a
Not
pretty
really much to
uneventful
say
game.
about that. The Texans are easily the worst team in the league right
They
now.
are.
Everyone should beat them.
I think the Bills got a win over the Browns. That wasn't a super crazy win either. There
No.
weren't very many amazing games. The Sunday night game was great. The Chiefs-Chargers games always are.
That one is always fun to watch, the Herbert versus Mahomes, because they just kind of bring out the best in each other, and you get to see two young talents duel it out.
I'm starting to question Herbert's ability to be clutch. Twice now, he has had the ball with under a minute left in the game against two Sunday night games in a row, actually, against the Niners and against the Chiefs. And in both of those situations, he threw a pick.
to end the game.
So I think Herbert's a good quarterback, but I will say he's beginning to look a little bit like Josh Allen.
I think there's just a lot of raw talent there. Arm strength is there. He can throw
Athleticism
the ball
is there.
300 miles if he wanted to. Like the first touchdown of the game that he threw to, was it Joshua Palmer?
Mm-hmm.
He throws an absolute missile like 60 yards down the field. He just throws the ball with such ease. But the problem is he just sometimes makes the wrong read. And like you said,
He threw it into
whenever
double
comes down to
coverage.
the wire, he cannot seem to clutch up, which is unfortunate.
Josh Allen hasn't been able to do that this season either. So I think those quarterbacks are in a different tier than a lot of the other guys. But
Absolutely.
they're showing to be a lot like Dak Prescott and the fact that they cannot win the game when you need them to.
But I would take either of those guys over Dak.
I would as well. Let's make a trade.
Another, I wouldn't say hype, but interesting game was the Patriots-Jets game.
I think it does is
It
worth
was-
mentioning.
Very boring, I would say, up until
The last 18
the last,
seconds of the game.
Yeah, 18 seconds of the game. It was 3-3 the whole time. Zach Wilson, oh my goodness.
I'll give
Absolute
you all a stat.
trash.
Negative 21 passing yards in the second half for Zach Wilson.
That's kind of ridiculous.
I don't even
if you
know
ask
how
me.
that happens, but it did.
Well, in the last 18 seconds of the game, the Jets punt it away. They're like, whatever.
We'll go into overtime.
We'll take it to overtime. Well, the Patriots end up returning it
Their rookie punt returner.
for a touchdown. And with 5 seconds left, they go up 10-3, and then that's the end of the game.
Nothing you can do there. No touchdowns all game until a punt return touchdown in the last 18 seconds. So that's unheard of. The Jets, who were looking really good at the beginning of the season, and I think we also said this about them as well as the Giants, they both just came out of the gates really good, but they couldn't. They just are showing they both can't sustain it, and so it's going to show now the Jets are being exposed. Zach Wilson is not.
He's not that guy.
He's not that guy. He's not there. He doesn't need to be their quarterback. They need to either find somebody else or draft somebody else. But Zach Wilson's just showing that BYU experience that he has, it's not really working in the NFL.
I mean, I didn't see a lot of potential there.
I'm not sure why he was.
That was an interesting draft a couple years ago. The Patriots started out a little bit slow, but they're starting to rack up the wins.
They'll be average. I mean, they're not going to do anything.
That AFC East, I believe all those teams have a winning record, right?
So right now, number 1 is the Dolphins, 7-3. Number 4 is the Jets at 6-4. So, I mean, it's basically one game separating that entire division.
Man.
So, I mean, anything could happen in the AFC East right now. I think the Jets are trending down right now, and the Patriots are trending up. And then the Bills and Dolphins, it is yet to be seen. Obviously, that's what me and Nick are kind of caring more about because that's what our
absolutely.
That's
I could
what our
not care
beef's
less
been.
what the Jets.
I don't think the
Patriots
Jets
do.
or the Patriots really.
They're eventually by the end of the season they're going to fall off. It's just going to be a dogfight for 3 and 4, and it's not going to matter.
1 and 2 will be close, I think. I feel like if the Dolphins can sustain their offense that they've got going because they don't really have much of a defense right now.
Yes, absolutely.
And the Bills just need to show that they can close games in the end. So the AFC East is really interesting. The NFC East, both the East, like from least to beast, both of them.
Absolutely.
They're just
you
coming
love to
alive.
see it.
So I think the Commanders are now 6-4. So that's the worst team in our division. So both of those divisions are the best in their conferences, and it's just interesting to see what's going to happen there. Another tight one is going to be probably the Bengals versus the Ravens, just in that division. Ravens got a win against Carolina. Bengals beat the Steelers. Those weren't surprising wins, but you just got to keep an eye on that division. The NFC North, obviously the Vikings are going to run away with that one with the Packers losing to the
that's
Titans.
pretty easy.
The Titans are going to take their division, the AFC South, pretty easily, like they've been.
Their competition's the Colts, the Jags,
and the Titans have a
Texans.
good defense this year. Do I think that they'll go anywhere in the playoffs? No, but it's interesting to see what's going to happen
there. All you do
there.
is stop Derrick Henry and you win the game, which
And
obviously easier said than done, but that's how you prepare your defense.
Bucks didn't play this week, but the Bucks will probably most likely take the NFC South. So a lot of the divisions have already kind of been decided. I think the AFC West is definitely the Chiefs, and then the NFC West will most likely be the Niners. That could be tight. Seattle and San Francisco.
We'll
the Rams
see
have fallen off.
How the Seahawks end off the season. They're one of those teams that started off hot, but they have a long way to go.
I don't know what to say about the Seahawks, honestly, right now. They look good, but I can't tell which way they're going to go at this
Geno
point.
Smith has showed that he has an extremely high level of, I guess, talent, but the question is, can he be consistent?
And that remains to be seen. I mean, he's been consistent. Against the Bucks, he didn't do that great, but you just one loss, throw it all away. So we will see the Bucks and the Seahawks and the Dolphins will all be back in action next week.
I think this week just solidified that I feel like Dallas,
they're a real contender.
Owns the Minnesota Vikings.
They do. We are 3-0
against the Vikings, and this is our first game with our starter.
I was about to say
2 years
3-0
ago,
with 3 different quarterbacks in the last 3 years.
2 years ago, we had Andy Dalton, right?
Win.
Beat them, no problem. Last year, Cooper the Beast Rush, no problem. This year, Dak, and it is absolutely no problem. We beat him by 37 with our starter.
I think it goes to show that the Vikings in prime time are not very good. You get the Vikings at 12 o'clock on a Sunday, they'll be fine. They're going to get you a win. In prime time, they got blown out against. Their one loss was against. Both of their losses, by the way, blowouts. Philly, 41-7. Second loss, Dallas, 40-3.
Not even close.
Not even close. I will say the margin of winning was more for us than it was against Philly. Not that says anything, but you can make your own conclusions there.
I will say, even whenever it got to halftime of that game, I was still like, all right,
I thought they were going to come back.
Let's keep pounding these points on them.
It was 20-3 at halftime.
Because they came back on the Bills, right? And so I was like, no lead is safe. We got to keep pressuring Kirk Cousins, Our offense needs to keep rolling.
And then we scored 2 quick touchdowns in the third quarter, and you could pretty much say
Kind
that
of put
was the
that
game.
matter to bed.
So they just kind of gave up
It was
after that.
ultimately on that 3rd and 14 when Tony Pollard ran it in for like 65 yards or something like that.
It was impressive, for sure. So Dallas, hopefully we carry that on Thanksgiving Day against the Giants, and we just keep it going.
Once
The
again,
rest of our schedule
very
is
winnable game, guys.
The rest of our schedule is not looking terrible. We just need to take it 1 week at a time, and let's just finish out the season.
Just prepare for your next
14
opponent.
Our fantasy segment this week, I got to say, my team did not score over 60 this week. So here are the guys that underperformed for me.
It was an interesting fantasy week.
A.J. Brown, not great. Joe Mixon he went out with a concussion. I assume he'll be back next week maybe. Kirk Cousins, obviously. Anyone on the Vikings did not perform very well at all. Some guys that really performed well, the Washington defense, Tyler Bass, Brett Maher, Devin Singletary, just guys that popped off this week that I'm not normally used to seeing pop off.
Yeah, obviously Travis Kelce, another huge
Travis
game.
Kelce is always a guaranteed good 20-point game.
Always pops off. I mean, he's guaranteed at least a touchdown. Joshua Palmer, he had a
good.
huge week too.
He did.
Two touchdowns.
Over 100 yards.
Patrick Mahomes, obviously, no surprise there. Justin Herbert did okay. Other than that, I feel like the quarterbacks all
they're pretty much
just about
same.
hit their projections. You know, no one really overperformed. You had a couple guys that underperformed. Kirk Cousins
did underperform for me. I got blown out this week, but it's okay. We'll be
I
back
think
next
one
week.
more thing we need to bring up before we go into before we end the show, because I kind of forgot about this earlier, was the Raiders Broncos. The Broncos are just. I don't even.
What's going on there?
I can't even describe
on
to
in
you
Denver?
what the Broncos are because they have been probably one of the most hyped up teams. People were picking them to win the Super Bowl at the beginning of the season.
And it felt like a good pick. They had a great defense and a great offense going into it.
Now, it looks like the Seahawks absolutely fleeced the Broncos with that trade. Gave up Russell Wilson. They got Noah Fant, Drew Lock, and a ton of draft
I
picks.
was one of the ones that I was like, why are you giving away Russell Wilson?
That's exactly what I was thinking.
I think everybody in America had the Seahawks going last in their division.
And Pete Carroll confidently said, I'm rolling into the season with Geno Smith and Drew Lock. And everyone was like, what are you doing? You're a fool.
And Geno Smith confidently said, they write me off, but I ain't right back.
I mean, he shut everyone down.
He did.
All the haters down.
He did.
The Raiders game it went to overtime. Devontae Adams is clutching up
Devontae Adams was wide open.
He's proving that he's still a top-tier wide receiver.
Even though his team's not very good this year, he's amazing. And Derek Carr is getting a lot of flack. I don't think that the blame goes to Derek Carr here. I think Josh McDaniels is not doing a great job coaching this team because they have tremendous talent on the offensive side.
I think Derek Carr's passion, competitiveness, and leadership, I think that's very apparent.
Would you take Derek Carr
in a lot of guys
over Dak Prescott? You want to know my answer? I would in a heartbeat.
I wouldn't.
I would in a heartbeat. Derek, we want you.
I think Dak's talent level is better.
Yeah, but Derek Carr is more clutch, and I stand by that.
I mean, the record does not reflect that, but I'm not saying Derek Carr is a bad QB, but I would not.
I think
take him over Dak.
you give Derek Carr our offensive line, our defense, and our receivers. Obviously, he has Devontae, but that's it. You give him TP, Zeke, and that defense to keep him off the field. You know how often he's on the field? A lot.
Okay,
they have a terrible defense.
Dak has proven that if he can play to the best of his ability, that he is untouchable.
Dak has proven that when we're up by 14 or more, he can play great.
I mean,
Derek Carr won in overtime this week, didn't he?
That was an extremely low scoring game.
When we had a chance to win in overtime last week, was he there?
I mean, obviously not.
I saw him on the field, but I didn't see him do much.
Yeah,
he was
he
just
did it.
there.
I'm still taking Dak over Derek Carr.
Well, I'm taking Derek Carr. Derek Carr, reach out to me anytime. We can talk sports.
Lastly, OBJ, we don't want you here.
We don't want Odell Beckham, and I think that's a resounding no from Dallas. So you can go look somewhere else.
Absolutely.
Don't mind our players' Twitters. They've been hacked. And
okay, Odell is a giant. Despite what anyone says to me, yeah, he played half a season with the Rams and however long he was with the Browns. He's a giant. All right. He's just not worth the money
don't-
that he believes he is due.
We don't need to sign a guy based on his followers on Instagram. Okay? What has he proven that he can
is
do
so
other than get
injury
injured?
prone. That is the last
And
thing
he's going to ask for a lot of
that
money.
Dallas needs. The last thing Dallas needs is an injury.
You're paying him based on his profile. Like, pay him based on his athleticism.
We already
He's got
have
none.
two receivers that get injured all the time. James Washington, that was supposed to be our big
I don't think I've
offseason
seen
signing.
him.
He hasn't touched the field. Michael Gallup. I mean, Dak, we've had to deal with
Every
Dak
time Michael
injury.
Gallup gets touched,
Tyron
I worry
Smith.
he's out for the season.
We've had Jordan Lewis get injured. Leighton Vander Esch, we've had
So
battle
if
injuries.
you wanna pay-
Zeke, I'm just trying to prove that we have to battle a lot of injuries as it is. Adding Odell is not the answer.
Dallas, if you want to pay for another surgery, then go ahead and sign Odell Beckham. But
Absolutely.
if you don't want that on your bill, then I would say not
Listen
do
to
it.
us.
He has not shown that he deserves to be signed by the Dallas Cowboys. We're doing just fine without Odell Beckham.
I mean, absolutely.
He's just going to put pressure on Dak to throw it to him.
40-3 against an 8-1 team at
I
their
don't think we
home.
need any help. He can't provide any help.
Come on.
I would. You know what? If Devontae Adams wanted to sign with the Cowboys, it'd be a
I
different
mean,
story.
absolutely.
But we don't want Odell Beckham. Thank you very much.
He's a decent receiver.
Thank you and good day, sir.
I'll give you that. Like, he's a decent receiver, but
We have decent
as
receivers.
a locker room presence, as a character, as a leader, he just sucks the life out of everybody. He is selfish, he complains, and he whines.
This is also from other sources, not just under review.
Absolutely. And the way he handled the whole Baker situation was not good.
He blamed the quarterback for his underperforming.
He wasn't doing well. He wasn't getting a lot of playing time and a lot of receptions. And so the solution to that is obviously just openly bash your quarterback on Twitter
Apparently, that's what he
to
thought.
the whole world to see. And if he comes here and does that to Dak, oh boy.
Not gonna have it.
I'm
Not
gonna be
gonna
honest.
have it.
We might have to throw hands at that point.
We will.
Because I will ride or die for Dak. Okay.
Yeah, it's
We
apparent.
criticize
That's
him.
apparent.
We criticize him all the time, but that's because it comes from a place of love.
Yeah, I mean, I like Dak a lot. I just, I don't see the clutch gene there. But we don't have to go into that. We can talk about that next week, since we were running out of time here.
Absolutely. So here's where we like to end our shows on Under Review. I have brought to you a quote by the great Joe Gibbs, who we have yet to hear from until today. A winning effort begins with preparation. That's the truth.
It does, and we appreciate your preparation listening
Absolutely.
to us here
Thank you.
on Under Review, as we always appreciate it. Like us, follow us, subscribe to us on wherever you get your podcast.
Share us with all of your friends, please.
Obviously, we're on YouTube. If you're watching this on YouTube, appreciate that. And go find us anywhere. We're going to be the top search of Under Review. Search that anywhere.
Absolutely.
Thank y'all for listening this week, and we will see y'all next week here at the 143.